Now that we've defined the basic mean, we're going to define two special types of mean. The first is called the trimmed mean. When we're dealing with the trimmed mean, we're going to need some kind of percentage to deal with. For our cases, we're going to deal with a 5% trimmed mean. Our first step for finding a trimmed mean is to order the data. We do need to make sure that our data is in order from smallest to largest. We're then going to multiply the number of items that we have, the number of data points, by 0.05 and round up. We multiply by this because we're doing a 5% trimmed mean. If you want to do a 10% trimmed mean, you would need to multiply by 0.10. Whatever your percentage of trim mean is, you're going to multiply by that percentage written as a decimal. Once we've done that, we're going to delete this number of items from the bottom and the top of our data, which is why it's important to have it ordered. Essentially, in step 2, if we were to multiply and we get a number like 3, we would delete the lowest 3 and the highest 3 data points. This essentially allows us to exclude these outliers, these extreme data points that really affect our data but don't really belong. So now that we have a basic idea, let's do an example. Here I have a data set of 20 points, and so we want to find a 5% trimmed mean. Our first step was to order the data, but when I wrote it down, I originally ordered it, so we get to skip that step. There are 20 elements here, so we're going to multiply 20 times 0.05, which gives us 1. So to find the trimmed mean, we're going to delete the lowest 1 and the highest 1. If we would have got 2 here, we would have deleted the lowest 2 and the highest 2. And now we're going to find our mean just like we did before. We add all of these numbers up and divide by the number there are. There were originally 20, but we deleted 2, so now we have 18. And if you were to add up all 18 of these numbers, you should get 636. And once we divide by 18, we get a mean of 35.33. So this is our 5% trimmed mean. If we were to try to calculate the mean outright of all 20 data values, the normal mean would be 36.3. So we did get it down by 1 point. However, you'll notice that 35 is a little bit more accurate of a mean than 36 would be. If we compare the data points, we'll notice 35 is right in here, whereas 36, over half the data points are drastically below that. And that's a result of this big 75 number that doesn't reflect the rest of the data being added in. The next type of special mean we'll discuss is a weighted mean. And weighted means occur whenever we want to give different values different weights. Some items might be more important than others. So we have each data point is going to have its weight. Our first step to doing this is going to be to multiply all of our data values by their corresponding weight and then add all of these up. So each data value should have a different weight. We multiply each value by its weight and then add all of these numbers up. We then divide by the sum of the weights. Instead of dividing by how many data points there are, we're going to divide by the sum of the weights of the data points. So let's do an example. One of the most common uses of weighted average is in grade calculations. In this case, we have homework worth 15%, quizzes worth 20, and then exam 1 and 2 each worth 20%, and then the numbers on the right are the grades. So in order to find the weighted average, the weighted mean, we multiply each data value by its corresponding weight, which is the percentage. For homework, 0.15. We then have 87 times 0.2 for the 20%, 73 times 0.2 for the exam 1, and 79 times 20% for exam 2. And then we divide by the sum of the weights. You'll notice these do not add up to 100% because we're missing some of our grades, maybe our final. So when we add these up, 0.2 plus 0.2 plus 0.2 plus 0.15, so far we've accounted for 75%, so 0.75. When we add up the top of this, when we multiply everything out and add up, we get 61.75 divided by 0.75. And whenever we work it out, we have 82.33. So our grade in this class is an 82.3.